opening partnership, Rehan Ahmed pushed up there, 13 of 18.
Was on. No shot for distance.
Duckett en route.
Little message.
As always, a class of his own. Fifth over. No, correction, it's Pramod Madhushan, he's changed ends. Third man in the circle, deep point, deep square leg, 2 in the deep. Very important 2 overs. Sri Lanka 26 for 1. They were really struggling to get the ball away early in their innings.
Yeah, he was able to break the shackles in the previous over by Duckett by rocking on the back foot and then thumped the ball over long on for a 6. They had all the time in the world to decide where that ball should go. Yeah, it was slightly short.
Oh, the goal has been disallowed.
Easier.
The game could carry on. The goal has been disallowed from KD's side. It's still 2-9. It's been stand at the stadium. Again,
Loud shout, loud shout. That wasn't very high, but Joe Root was going down the wicket and hence more doubt in the umpire's mind. I'll tell you what, they'll take the chance. They will go for this. Remember, it's been given not out. It's got to crash in. You need 3 reds to overturn.
Big shot, not this.
TV umpire to director, we have a player review for LBW. Visual decision is not out. Check the feet. It's a fair livery. Can we go to front on, please?
No, he's doing the same technique. No, he's going in between.
Coming up.
Big opportunity right there.
It appears that Bat will confirm that with Ultra Edge, please. Ultra Edge coming up. Got a clear gap between bat and ball, and then impact on the pad so we can go to ball tracking when it's ready. Ball tracking coming up now. Pitching outside off, impact in line and missing the wickets. Adrian, you'll stay with your original not out decision. I'll let you know when you're on screen. You're on screen now, signal now.
Sri Lanka lose that review. What a great decision. Skidded on, hit him in front. Couple of pounds right. Indian ball stopped the umpire.
Just leave it.
Yeah, but I think that's the reason it's
Sri Lanka
giving us
strike
it
their
up.
luck.
You still see it.
Well,
Yeah, but that's the reason I can't push it forward because that's come out and I want to put it in.
that looked close. But
You still see it.
You know, but that's the reason I can't push it forward because I can't get the spin back in.
If not, you are in trouble because he's the man
Oh,
who brings a lot of calmness to that England batting lineup.
This is not really going good at all.
Just the cricket England have played in the last few years around him, there's been a lot of madness. Just skidded through.
It's not a toilet bill.
Ben Duckett was given out, survived on the bounce. So both batters, Sri Lanka thought they had them, but all bouncing over the stumps. Madhushan, not a tall lad. Generally, you don't see the ball bounce as much here in Sri Lanka. Nudge it away, have to just collect those runs for now.
Isn't it the right approach? Just go for 4 runs and over required. Don't have to go extravagant, doesn't matter. Just play with a minute approach. Keep on getting closer to the total without losing too many wickets.
You need to win this game. Really good tactics. Drink their strikers.
Gets it off the stumps. That's where he's so strong. And even better running.
Good players, they don't require ordinary deliveries to score their runs. That's where they're good at. Maneuvering the line, maneuvering the length, and that separates them from the boys. They're so adept at doing that. Joe Root, well equipped with the rigors of batsmanship. He knows how to deal with different situations, different conditions.
Again, this time it'll be 4. He's got it finer. So that's a big over for England. 47 for 1 after 9.
That's a proper kid.
47 for 9. England in control. Held their nerve. It's high in the field. Able to restrict Sri Lanka to 219. We've seen many teams come to these conditions, and the moment you lose the toss, shoulders droop and you just don't execute what you're supposed to. But England, they were good.
He had deliberately moved outside the line of that delivery and kept pad in front of his pads. And that's why he was able to place the ball into the gap behind square.
Wrists into play. You need those on these slow pitches to create pace. Not a shot in anger from Root, but he's 18 off 13. Last over of the power play. They got the required rate or required score down to 170. If Sri Lanka had got to about 250, England would have felt the need to get that up. That's over the top. It's safe. Quick outfield, but it plugs. Slightly flatter. It skids away. We've seen value for shots. 50 is on the board. Score was 250. England would have felt the need to get 65 maybe off the first 10. But with 220, you really don't need to do anything silly. No turn for De Silva. He relies on good lines and keep me tight within the stumps.
Yeah, he's been trying to angle the ball into the left-hander. Missed out. Missed out. But Duckett doing that delivery. First power play done. England 52 for 1.
Into the power play. 52 for 1. 168 required in 440. Required rate just around 4. Well, now the game might change just a wee bit. So the introduction of Welalage. We'll see. Jeffrey Vander says so Sri Lanka got these two bowlers as attacking options. The other spinners very much part-timers. And England also must not make the mistake of letting the part-timers get through their overs. And I think they've learned from the mistake they made the other day, judging by the approach against Dhananjay De Silva. So 4 fielders allowed outside the circle now. And the first ball's a 4. Just lanes into it and relies on timing.
Yeah, in the last game, he struggled to find that gap, especially against the off spinners when there was an extra cover was placed. But this time around, there was a huge gap. He just caressed the ball into the gap and got 4 runs for it.
Yeah, that's a better length. You've got to use the pitch here. First ball was a full toss. He bowled really well into the rough. That's where he caused problems for the left-hander. Here's him trying. The rough once again. Over the top. Ben Duckett's not going to allow him to settle down.
Seems like he has lined up the left armer Bilal again. Yes, this pitch has been sluggish, but we haven't seen the finger spinners getting a lot of purchase from this one, and that's why there was no worry for Ben Duckett. Full stride in, got deep underneath that delivery, hit the ball area for another boundary in this over.
And off in the circle. Now he goes around the wicket. The line changes. Ball not gripping off that rough. No rough, in fact, for Villalage. Good options. Safe options. Now this is more a defensive line from the bowler. He's got himself to bring on Lanka. Since he's been captain, he's bowled a lot better, bowled a lot more. That's made a difference. 60 for 1 after 11. Sri Lanka made, Lanka 45, Dhananjay De Silva 40. 6 spinners England used. I think 20 runs short Sri Lanka. We've got to try and make it up with their bowling and the fielding. But right now, Duckett and Root together. Look like they have things under control, and Sri Lanka now going through their bowlers. The first 10 overs, and Ahmed opened the batting. He's the only man dismissed, but from the moment Joe Root came in, he's been picking them off to either side. Pace or spin, really good. Ben Duckett on the other hand, more watchful. Lanka's into the attack.
I'm surprised the wrist spinner hasn't been introduced. Yes, the power play is done. Having more options to send fielders to the boundary line. Any wicket, especially of Joe Root, can be dangerous. I'm going with the auxiliary options.
They're trying to get through a couple of overs here, make it tighter. 3 spinners, 3 Sri Lankan spinners on shore. Dhananjay De Silva, Villalage, and now Lanka. But we haven't seen any turn at all. It's just sliding on today. Just need one ball to turn and give the batter the feeling that both edges of his bat are threatened. Bring that doubt in right now. Just sliding on to the bat. Bushan manages to hang on to it. They haven't been at their clinical best in the field today. Standards of a couple of days ago have dropped a little bit. So will Lanka, will Dhananjay De Silva or Villalage, will they be brave enough to slow it down? That's when you're getting the ball to turn.
batters used so far. Trajectory has been low, and that was a slow delivery. To finish the over, 60, 3 for 1. England ahead, definitely. As both the batters, they have started to bat with confidence and with conviction. They're certain with their footwork now.
Strike was so crucial. Joe Root. These are his strike points, and there's a little gap when you play from near the crease. That's the way to do it. Either you get close to the ball, that's using your feet, or get deep in your crease. Joe Root does that beautifully. Ben Duckett, though, on the other hand, doing it so nicely, so easily. The thing is, with the two batters, the way they're controlling things, bowlers bowl it quicker. Then you don't get that effort. Here's Root strike points. He plays it very late. Uses his feet down the wicket, deep in the crease. Ben Duckett, he likes to access the ball. He likes to go at it. That's quite the same with most of the other English batters, and hence get into trouble. Whereas Root toys around with the length, with the way he moves around.
With the craft we saw from Joe Root, what he does with the ballers is, when they're looking to ball wicket to wicket, he moves outside the line, works the ball on the onside, forces them to ball outside the off stump. From there on, he gets deep in the crease and punches the ball through covers. Now, by working the ball on the onside against the left armour, he's forcing him to change the line.
Yeah, tense faces, Lanka. What does he do? What does he do? Well, Van der Sey, got to hope that Van der Sey can get you that breakthrough. 69 for 1.
Attenzione, attenzione, tutti!
No Van der Sey as yet, just the 5 bowlers. Lanka's going to have another, and I would think you can't waste any more time. You got to get the wrist spinner in. They had more runs on Thursday. Van der Sey was introduced in the 18th over. Silva is very good at the tops overs. Velalagi, there was some control, and hence you could afford to delay him, but not today. You don't have that cushion.
The idea with captain of Sri Lanka is bowling to ball top deliveries. It's not happening. Batters have been able to hit the holes. Run scoring has been easier as compared to the first innings.
Batter's approach, it makes a very big difference in how it seems, how it looks. brilliant. Again off the stumps. So deft. The message it sends to the bowlers, like you explained a while ago, changing the line, changing the length. Another comparison. Thursday, once Duckett and Root were out, it was a very different ball game. The ball started turning and spinning. Comes down to how the batters play it as well. You have a choice. You can make it look like the bowlers are bowling or throwing grenades at you, or just watch the ball hit through the line and go on your merry way, as Root and Duckett are doing right at the moment.
Yeah, the job is to keep on scoring 4 and over, and they're doing it quite comfortably. It's 73 for 1.
That's strong batting to come. Vettel, Brook and Butler all averaging in the 30s. There's also Jacks. So, talking about a pretty strong batting lineup for England. Sam Curran, well, you look at that man's average. We did see what he could do in that last game in Dawson. His average is just under 11, and Adil Rashid also has an average of around 17. It's all in double figures. And at the moment, England very comfortable. They're not being in any way challenged by the way the batters are approaching it. Root 27 of 24, Duckett just looking to take the bowling on, and risk-free cricket.
Yeah, comfortably risk-free cricket. I think Sri Lanka might have to do something different to try and prize open this game. Possibly take a risk, bring a couple of fielders into the circle. Then took it after a scratchy start, same as on Thursday in the first ODI. He's come through that passage and he's going well. Very, very good shot from Duckett. Down on one knee, and good running from Joe Root. Excellent running from Joe Root. There wasn't 3 there. Sloppy fielding from Sri Lanka, and I think that's, Roshan, largely down to the fact that England are putting them under pressure. They're giving Sri Lanka a run around, asking questions of the fielders, and that polished, energetic Sri Lanka side we see at the start of the power play is not there now.
It certainly is. I think you do see the intent when it comes to running with England. This is a good effort. Just managed to pull it in. But that's what Sri Lanka didn't have when they batted. I mean, it was quite apparent and obvious that they were not pushing that second run a lot. The running was not as sharp as one would have expected. Missed quite a few of those, which could have come in handy. That's the width he's looking for. And he's going at better than a runner ball. 28 of 26. And we did see that the surface was quite slow when Sri Lanka batted, but it's the way Root is looking to tackle the spinners. Oh! Just to the right of that man and short square leg. Sri Lanka wants those to get to hand.
Sri Lanka desperately needed that. When things are going your way, tends to land just short or just wide. Good delivery. Just a little bit of a puff of dust broke the surface, showing how dry the surface is.
Finished with a dot. It's 79 for 1. So 79 for 1, that is Sachit Patiranan, the spin bowling coach, having a few words to Tunit Velalage. This is Lanka, another single. See, this is working beautifully for England, to England's advantage, because they just got off to such a good start that now they don't need to look for boundaries. They got plenty of open areas where they can knock it around. 4 runs, 3 runs, 5 runs. They're up with the run rate.
Good shot from Joe Root. Good positive intent on the run as well. Yeah, that's the beauty about getting ahead of the game in the power play. Thought England might have took possibly more of a risk to try and get really well ahead against the 2 new balls, but actually the 2 new balls did a bit for the first 4 or 5 overs. So they met up in the second half of the power play, and because they got ahead of the run rate, they can't have the luxury of just running around. Good work from Kusal Mendes, but because they have this ability to run it around, and the run rate required is not too challenging, they can have some quiet passages.
The other thing is, Sri Lankan fielders, captain doesn't have the luxury of bringing them close or having a close catcher. They're just defending 220. And England have reduced that requirement massively at the moment. So it's very defensive field positions. Say even if it turns, finds the outside edge, you would love to have a slip, but you don't, because of the ease this pair is batting.
You're waiting for England to make a mistake, and that is what England have got to hopefully alleviate the risk of making that mistake because of the sort of lowness of the total, the run rate required. England have going well here, 83 for 1 off 16, and then Strings.
A spine-tingling atmosphere.
That is absolutely unbelievable.
Match day 8 has lived up to the billing, really.
The taste, the power, the finish.
Sensational finale to the group stage.
A night of unscripted drama.
Now the requirement is 137 of 34. With 9 wickets standing and Joe Root and Duckett looking good, England will be fine. Well, we do know that Sri Lanka has some wonderful spots. If you're thinking of wanting to visit, so much culture, beauty, and I'm sure you'll come back for more. I'm sure my good friend Stephen Harmison will want to come back more and more.
Absolutely. What a beautiful place. Beautiful country this is. Hospitality has been so far so good. Very nice. The weather is sensational. Freezing cold in England. What's not freezing cold is Ben Duckett and Joe Root. They've been fantastic. That was Joe Root's very first ball. From there, scored 3 through mid-wicket. Ben Duckett, after a scratchy start, got a boundary. Really kicked it on from there. Put especially the bowlers, when he first comes onto bowl, under real pressure. England 83 for 1. His partnership of 63 off 62 balls really has put England in the box seats. And Yes, 1, 2 wickets could change the game, but at this moment in time, the body language of Sri Lanka compared to where England is at the minute, it's all positive for Root and Duckett, really asking questions, and not only the Sri Lankan bowlers, Roshan, but the Sri Lankan captain as well.
Yeah, he's now brought Van der Sar. I think it was due. I would have expected Van der Sar to appear immediately after the power play was off. He's Sri Lanka's most experienced and penetrative, though. Joe Root starts off with the boundary. The first delivery. This is what Root does so well. Anything loose, he makes capital use of it.
2 or 3 times now that a new bowler's come into the attack and their first ball hasn't been on the money, and England have capitalised. Quick feet from Joe Root, getting back into his crease. Yeah, perfect.
Beautifully bowled. Beautifully bowled. I'll be very interested to see what the pace of that ball is. Well, we've spoken about what this surface does when you bowl at less than 80. Case and Van der Sar as a wrist spinner can produce that kind of delivery. And Root, so good. Again, tells you how well he picks that length and line. Gets beaten the previous delivery, but he's not afraid to go through mid-wicket the next one.
And that's the beauty about, how well Joe Root picks the length up there, because he looked as though he might have sort of got himself a little bit, the ball a bit fuller and got a bit cramped there, but just a little adjustment. Oh, was that? Oh, wide given, a bit of turn. With a little adjustment that Joe Root and the quickness of his hands and how good his hands are, comfortably get him out of any trouble he finds himself in.
Got him. That's what Van der Sar can do, and that's what the Sri Lankan captain wanted him to do. They were desperate for a wicket. They needed this partnership to be broken. And Jeffrey Van der Sar in his very first over has provided it.
It's a big wicket for Sri Lanka, waiting to bring the wrist spinner into the contest. Jayasuriya desperate for a breakthrough. Sri Lanka desperate for a breakthrough. The ball's turned back onto Ben Duckett's middle and off stump. Delight for Sri Lanka. The partnership is broken. Good partnership between Root and Duckett. England 88 for 2.
It has been a real nuisance sometimes to the Sri Lankan spinners, but not to this man. Speak about leg spinners and left arm spinners struggling against the left-handers, and in the last game Bethel was dismissed by Vellalage, left arm spin turning back, and this one Duckett being dismissed by Van der Sar, and immediately a slip with Bethel on strike. Mid-off comes in, extra cover saves one, mid-wicket saves one. Last ball of the over. Oh, and he gets off the mark with a little push. And a very good over from Van der Sar comes to an end. A wicket taking over. It's 89 for 2. 89 for 2. Joe Root will be the next big target for Sri Lanka. Now, what they will be telling themselves, get Root out and get 2 new batters in. And then let's then try and see how the surface starts to respond. They brought on Dhananjaya, who's gone for 20 in 3 overs, but with a left-hander on strike, I can understand what the captain's thinking.
Also, like not only the captain's decision with the bowling change, but the field. All 5 fielders inside the circle are tight on the single.
Yeah, but I really like a little bit more pressure. I like to see a slip in with Bethel on strike. I think that's a chance you got to take.
Yeah, and bring one of your long on or long off up inside the circle. Bethel down the wicket, stumped on Thursday in the first game.
I'll bring Miron up and maybe attempt to get him to try and go over the top. See what happens. The delivery before this previous one turn, just brushed the pads. That one turned back from a different line. See, with the ball turning, whatever turn that the surface has, bringing Miron forward and letting him go over the top as a left-hander. See a bit of tentativeness in the batter. And what Sri Lanka doesn't want to see is to find the edge and not have somebody there.
Also, the buzz around the ring, the body language of Sri Lanka has completely changed. Got the wicket, they broke the partnership. Got a new batter on strike in Bethel. 5 dots in a row. This turn, huge turn, lavish turn. Took it expecting it to bounce, possibly just that little bit more.
He will want 2, but only a single. It's 90 for 2.
Oh my God, the spicy off the plate, not just on Alex. See, I can't believe he's got the spicy off the plate that he tried to do earlier.
So Bethel has faced 7 deliveries. Root hasn't faced a ball since that Duckett's dismissal. So Bethel back on strike again. Van der Sar got a wicket in the very first over he bowled. Continues with a slip.
And it's good that there's a slip in from Van der Sar for Bethel. It's a statement of intent. That was the wicket, extra cover, tight angle.
Good running. But you could see that it held up a little bit in the surface. Van der Sar just throwing it up a bit, inviting Bethel to try and come down and drive.
I'd be disappointed if I was the bowler there. I was disappointed that the fielder, as if he's sleeping, he's on the ring. Got to be saving that single. Feel the pressure that the batter's under. See the bowlers bowling from either end. Bowling strong. Noise from inside the circle just releases the pressure. Then all of a sudden you bring Joe Root back onto strike.
And what Sri Lanka will want to do is to bowl more to Bethel. Just keep him on strike. So 2 things could happen. They can build dots. They can create pressure. They can entice him to do something wrong or different. They just want one end open. Slip is back. Mid-off is in the circle. Extra cover saving 1. Slower. Van der Sar as well.
Good again. Pressure back on Jacob Bethel. Bit of fielding.
Very happy with the single. Bethel just looking to push it around. Just understand the surface, the pace. He'll be very pleased that he's got Root at the other end. So much of experience. He's been there for a while, Root, so he understands the pace, how the surface works. Oh no, that's poor. That's before. In fact, it's well cut off. For a moment, I thought that he timed it well. That was Janit Leonage. That was a friendly gift. It's 95 for 2.
Goal got come fair. Now that's.
Point just a shade over 4 and over. Very comfortable for England at this moment in time.